For decades, we've had this pretty simple relationship with technology. We ask a question, it gives an answer. We give a command, it does the task. But what if that whole dynamic is on the verge of a massive shift? Let's dive into what might just be the next giant leap for AI.
Pablo Picasso said this a long, long time ago. And you know what? For most of the last century, he was basically right. We've treated even our most powerful machines like really, really fancy calculators. We were the thinkers, the decision makers. And computers? They were just the tools that gave us information, but they never ever took action on their own.
Well, that's what's changing. Right now, that line between just giving answers and actually getting things done is getting crossed.
So, what is this new world we're entering? It goes by the name Agentic AI. And the name really says it all. It's about AI that actually does things.
The key idea here is autonomy. We're talking about systems that don't just follow a strict pre-programmed script. They can actually look at a situation, understand the context, come up with a plan, and then go and execute that plan to achieve a goal. All of this with very little human handholding.
And this is the most important part to get your head around. We're moving away from AI as just a search engine on steroids. The goal isn't just to get the perfect response to a prompt anymore. It's about achieving a real, tangible result in the world. Think, a meeting actually booked on the calendar, a customer's problem fully resolved, an order successfully placed. It's all about the outcome.
To really make this click, let's compare to the kinds of AI you're probably already familiar with, because it's the differences here that make this so powerful.
Okay, so think about generative AI, like ChatGPT. It's absolutely amazing at producing content. It can write a fantastic email for you. But an agentic AI takes that and runs with it. It doesn't just write the email, it decides who the best person to send it to is, figures out the perfect time to send it, and even follows up if it doesn't hear back. It manages that whole workflow to get the desired outcome.
So, you might ask, isn't this just like the automation we already have, like RPA? Well, not quite. Think of RPA as the incredibly steady hands. It's perfect for doing the same repetitive task over and over, following a very fixed set of rules. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is the decision maker. It's the brains of the operation. If something unexpected happens, it doesn't just freeze. It adapts and it figures out the next best move to keep things going.
So how in the world does this actually work? It's not magic, I promise. We can actually break it down into a pretty straightforward 4-layer system that makes it easy to understand and, maybe more importantly, easy to keep an eye on. It really flows like a logical cycle. First up, you've got perception. The AI agent has to see what's going on, so it collects signals from the world. An email that just came in, a new customer support ticket, you name it. Then comes cognition. This is the thinking part. It looks at its goal, considers its options, and plans its next move. Third, there's action. It actually goes and does the thing, using tools like APIs to interact with other software. And finally, wrapping around this whole process is assurance. Think of this as the supervisor, constantly monitoring for costs, risks, and making sure everything's compliant, ready to call in a human if needed.
Now, the potential here is obviously huge, but like with any big new technology, there's a bit of a gap between all the exciting promises and the day-to-day reality of getting it to work.
I mean, the promise is incredible, and it cuts across pretty much every industry. Imagine a healthcare system where patients can get booked in 24/7. Or in real estate, getting a property tour scheduled the second you show interest. How about an e-commerce site where an agent pops up with a helpful discount just as you're thinking of leaving your cart? It's all about getting rid of friction and making things happen.
But here comes the cold water. A recent report from MIT found that a staggering 95% of enterprise AI pilot projects fail to make any real impact. Let that sink in for a second. 95%.
So why that massive failure rate? Well, the report points to a few main culprits. The number one reason? Integration problems. Just getting these new AI systems to talk to and work with all the old software that companies rely on is a huge challenge. On top of that, you've got serious security risks and a maze of compliance rules like GDPR and HIPAA to navigate. Because at the end of the day, autonomy without safety is just a liability.
Okay, so how do we close that gap? How do we get all the amazing benefits of agentic AI without all the risk? The answer, it turns out, is all about building a solid framework with clear guardrails.
The companies that are actually succeeding with this are taking a really smart approach. They're treating these AI agents almost like new digital employees. They give them a clear role, specific permissions, and they're supervised and reviewed, just like any human on the team would be.
To make this work, you have to build safety in from the ground up. You need things like strict controls over what data goes in and what comes out. You need allow and deny list, so the agent isn't just pulling from random tools on the web. You absolutely have to have full audit trails so you can trace back every single decision. And for the really important stuff, you need a human in the loop, a real person there to give the final go-ahead. This is how you build real trust in the system.
Now, once you have those guardrails solidly in place, we can start looking ahead. And what's really exciting is that this whole thing doesn't just stop with one smart agent.
The future isn't about building one giant, all-powerful AI that tries to do everything. Instead, to solve really complex problems, the model is shifting toward creating small, specialized teams of AI agents that all work together. They collaborate, just like a human team, to get the job done better and more reliably.
And in this kind of AI team, everyone has their job. You have the planner, who is basically the project manager, breaking the big goal down into smaller tasks. Then you bring in the specialists, who are the experts at doing specific things like research or coding. You've got the reviewer, who acts as quality control, checking everything against company policy. And then you have the orchestrator, who's like the team lead, making sure everything runs smoothly.
And all of this leads us to one final, really important question. The rise of agentic AI isn't just about making tasks go faster. It's about a whole new way of collaborating. As we start to build AI systems that can plan, act, and even work together in teams, we have to ask ourselves, what does that mean for our jobs? What does human teamwork even look like in a world where we have digital coworkers? That right there is the conversation we